You're listening to Rockland's News. My name is Tom Osa. Thanks for joining us today. I have with us on today's episode, Town of Haverstraw Supervisor Howard Phillips. Howard, thanks for joining us on the show once again.
Thank you, Tom. It's always a pleasure to be on and talking to all of our residents.
All right, great. Well, you had some updates and saw some articles out on the interwebs yesterday about some developments with the old Haverstraw chair factory. Was wondering if you could give us some updates on that and some recent developments.
Well, sometimes you pick up an article and you just shake your head because it's filled with such fabrication of the truth. And, we received an email from the Empire Development Corp. But when you go out to the public and you speak to the public and they ask you questions, it's always great to be able to talk to them directly on any issue or concern. So, for instance, there was an article I'm being told that was out there that said the town was stopping a development in the village of Haverstraw from proceeding. That is a complete fabrication. When it comes to pilot agreements, they can stand alone. So the village of Haverstraw can enter into a pilot agreement. The school district can enter into a pilot agreement. The county can enter into a pilot agreement. The town can enter into a pilot agreement. Or one of the municipalities can say, I'm not interested in this pilot agreement and just proceed. And it can proceed. It doesn't mean that they stop the development. So again, it's people either deliberately trying to confuse the people and fabricating things, or they really don't know what they're talking about. Now, we've had this application for quite some time, and we disagree with a lot of things that are in the application. And when you don't think something is to the benefit of the people that live here right now, you have to stand up for the people that really put you into that office. So we didn't agree with the structure of the pilot agreement. But not only that, the article then continued to allude that we were the only entity not willing to enter into a pilot agreement. So the first thing I do is I'm going to pick up the phone. I reached out to the superintendent of the North Rockland School District, Chris Felicello, and I asked him, did the school board change their mind on the pilot agreement of this proposed development, which is 450 units, 6 stories high, 50 units per acre, which we've never, ever, ever had before. It's way above what we've ever done before. And the superintendent informed me that they have not entered into any agreement. They have not agreed on any agreement. And the last time that they communicated with the applicant was not really happy with what the school district was asking for. So here you go, right off the bat. You have an article out there by a woman who's completely conflicted in writing this article because of what has happened in the past with her husband being involved with things that I was involved with Rockland Green. So I don't understand it. It doesn't stop from this reporter. Then there's other things that we are concerned with. It's a lottery, and the lottery goes out to 9 different counties, and anybody from the 9 different counties can submit their name. Now, when you talk about affordable housing, you want to provide affordable housing for the people in your municipality. That's what we want to achieve. And we've done that in Haverstraw. When it
Well,
comes to affordable housing, we probably have done more than any other municipality in Rockland County. We're the only town that passed the Emergency Tenant Protection Act, which is more or less rent stabilization. When we did it, there were 700 apartments that came under that. We're the only town on our own volition that allowed mobile homes to be expanded upon as a means of affordable housing, both of which the state recognizes as affordable housing. We've had townhouses being built. We've had condominiums being built. As a matter of fact, another state agency just did an analysis of housing in Rockland County, and they found that Haverstraw's townhouses and condominiums are less expensive than any other place in the county.
And I would
So
imagine that's one of the reasons why the state is basically seems to be zoning in on that area, which is obviously a nice waterfront property area as well. But and what you're referring to in the article has to do with specifically one quote, and I just want to go back just a step about the North Rockland Central School District. There's and you could catch it on RC Biz Journal, but basically there's a quote in here. It says the developers in the Rockland IDA will implement the pilot programs that the Village, County, and North Rockland Central School District have agreed to. So what you're telling me is you already spoke with the superintendent for the North Rockland Central School District, and they're saying that there is no agreement in place.
yes, we communicated via text message, and he stated there is no agreement with the North Rockland School District. So, you
Okay.
know, again, this is the hard thing about being an elected official. You have to sit back, and pretty much anybody can say anything they want about you, and there really is no way to go back at them. You know, the truth is a very special thing, it's precious, especially when it comes to the media.
Mm.
And people need to demand the truth. They need to know what exactly is going on. And when you have an article that completely fabricates things, you know, you have to ask yourself, why is this person writing this? Is
Mm.
there some other reason why they have focused in on the town board and myself? And you know, it's very sad to see.
Yeah.
But you know, in either case, we're used to it. So, you know, we move on. We do the good things that can get done, and we continue to represent the people of Haverstraw. Our concern with this proposal is, yeah, do we think it's too many? You know, you could have out of 450 units, you could have out of the Empire Chair Factory, you know, 800 or more cars coming out in the morning. But that's not the only thing that the village is proposing. They have another one that they're building, an 81 unit complex over the municipal parking lot on Maple Avenue. The old Gracioso building across from the Knights of Columbus, they're building 61 there. Now we're being told that they're entertaining a possible application of as many as 200 units above the Hornick parking lot. 9W and 202 are so congested right now. The downtown area in the village of Haverstraw is saturated right now with housing. I grew up in Haverstraw. I lived my first part of my life on South Street in Haverstraw. Many of those street level were all stores. So many have been turned into apartments. Two families are now four or five families. Three families are six or more. Can the infrastructure bear all this? We know how the people feel about the horrible traffic on 9W and 202, and that existed even before this chippy gas line went into effect. But there's other reasons too. We're not a community, especially in the villages, of great wealth. We have people struggling right now to be able to afford the home they have. We have senior citizens on fixed incomes. This is a 35-year pilot, which means that over 35 years, everybody else will be subsidizing these residents to live there. Now, we all want to provide affordable housing. And quite frankly, the town in Haverstraw is the only entity that can actually demonstrate concrete proof that we do support as much affordable housing as possible. But not only that, we've allowed shelter rent for our seniors. We were one of the biggest advocates for that. when they went to build Haverstraw Place on 9W in the village of Haverstraw. We were the ones that entered into the pilot agreement. So, we can prove how much we've been in favor of it, but you have to scratch the surface and look at the structure. So
Right.
let's talk about that a second, Tom. So we have this complex was going to be mostly, they're calling it affordable, but if you look at what they're paying in taxes, it's really low income. So those units that they're calling affordable in the 15th year, that's the 15th year of this agreement, they will pay a total average property tax of
Hmm.
$800. Now, I have rent stabilized apartments right now paying an average of $4,200 right
Hmm.
now. And they're proposing not to get to $800 until the 15th year. They're
Right.
also proposing market apartments. Well, market apartments are supposed to pay the same as the rest of the market apartments throughout the area. Well, we have market apartments on the Hudson River paying $15,000 or more.
Hmm.
They want them to pay in the 15th year. That means they're stepping it up each year. 15th year, a
2040.
total a total of $1,800.
Yeah. And that's in the
And
year 2040.
these numbers don't make any sense to us. And not only that, we're concerned because we've had the village of Haverstraw has been a very high crime area, more than
Hmm.
anywhere else in the town. I mean, it's no revelation. Everybody knows this. It's been in the news. We have two unsolved murders right now. A little more than 2 years ago, we had another one where broad daylight, the guy was shot and killed.
Yeah, I remember
Uh,
that. Yeah.
in the last 2 to 3 weeks on Broad Street, we've had shots fired twice now. So, the burden of all these services, you can begin and end with police, is upon the town, but you also have paramedics, ambulance, parks department. So, yeah, we're very concerned. We think the village should have come to us before they even thought of coming forward with this massive amount of construction. Where else in Rockland County do you see any other municipality proposing this? You
Mm.
don't see anybody else proposing this. I mean, Tom, when we allowed multifamily, we've never gone over 20 units per acre, and we try and keep it around 17.
Mhm.
That's really very workable.
Let me ask you this, and just going back to affordability. All right. When you're talking about emergency services and the burden per individual taxpayer in the town, how much does that rise year over year? Because as is everything else, the cost of living increases. It's just the way it is. But how far up the scale do emergency services, do they rise along with the cost of living, like a few
Oh
percentage
yeah.
points per
Oh my
year? Or
goodness. Every year, and this goes for just about any municipality that has a police department, the overwhelming expense in your budget is police. We look at our budget. Our police budget could make up 60 to 70% of our taxes.
Mhm.
It's that much, and it's very, very challenging because there is no end, whether it's police salaries, police health insurance, police retirement. Those are the things that dominate a municipality's budget when they have a police department.
Mhm.
And you know what? You can't neglect on that because probably the primary responsibility of any elected official is the safety of the public,
Okay.
protecting them, making sure. And we've been extremely aggressive on that. Not only that, we've entered into an agreement with the school district where we now have a school resource officer at the high school. We have a
Mhm.
school resource officer at Fieldstone. We have one at the Willow Grove School, Thiel's Elementary School, West Haverstraw Elementary School, Haverstraw Elementary School, and these things are critical. And that's not to count our youth officer that is at the high school so often, just about every single day when the school is open.
Hmm.
So we've done those things. We've added extra patrols, street crime patrols. We've done such a good due diligence. We've had an officer in the narcotics task force with the county, which has been probably one of the most successful law enforcement tools in the history of Rockland County. We've had one in the intel unit as well. So, and we work very well. Let me give a big shout out to Sheriff Lou Falco for working with us all these years. District Attorney Tom Walsh, past District Attorneys Tom Zuckerby. So we work very well with them. But you know what? You can't neglect on that, but it is extremely expensive and it's what drives taxes up. But you have to do it. So, look, we have our differences with the village. We don't agree on the structure of it. We're really concerned about some of these vital things that come with such massive construction. But, for a reporter to go out there and just fabricate things that are not true is horribly wrong. It's just really, really horribly wrong. How would you like it, or any of your listeners, if somebody went out there and put in print, or whether it's an internet news program or something else, and just fabricated things about you? You would feel really horrible, and I'm sure
That would
anybody does.
essentially hurt my feelings. It
Hmm.
would, especially, and I'll say this just very objectively. Our aim is to report, not to journalize. And
Hmm.
I feel that journalism has taken an angle where there's a goal at the beginning, whatever that goal is, to glorify or damn someone, and then without paying heed to the facts on both sides, essentially just go at it and rip apart with that angle. And
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why we're changing our motto, Howard. The new motto, and this is the first time that we're mentioning on the show. We're going to mention it tomorrow morning with the Mike and Tom show. But the new motto for Rockland News is Rockland News, no paper, no paywalls, just the facts.
There you
And
go.
that's basically, and we're going to get some heat for it because sometimes we're just going to say, hey, this happened. And somebody's going to be like, well, no, this happened. Well, we can update our stories.
But for the
We'll
longest time, Tom, that's how the news was. Why did Walter Cronkite become such a popular person? Because he reported the news.
That's
And
the
that's what you're
idea. Yeah.
supposed to do. That, I would hope every journalist would follow that. But you know what, Tom? Some of them don't. Many of them do. I've had a great rapport over my career in public office with reporters, but now you have this, and it's very sad. Because it's very unfortunate because people fabricate things. But enough of that. Let me say also, and I'm going to give a big shout out to White Plains, because this is what we need. When we talk about affordable housing, we should be talking about home ownership. If you want to empower any individuals, a man, a woman in your community, get them to be homeowners. If you want to have them sink roots deep down into your community, get them to be homeowners. Now, White Plains is taking about 100 units and converting them all into home ownership, but also it's home ownership for their residents.
Hmm.
Unlike these proposals, where they go out to 9 different counties and have a lottery. We don't know. I mean, think about it this way. We've been providing affordable housing for decades. Why do we have to go out and provide affordable housing for other communities when so many of these other communities haven't provided affordable housing? So we have to provide affordable housing for the entire state, or at least 9 counties, when we've been doing it for our residents for years. There is a crisis going on. But you know what? Let's focus on making them homeowners. And that's what the governor, that's what the president, that's what Congress, that's what the Senate and Assembly in the state of New York should be doing right now. Instead of giving these developers millions upon millions of dollars in grants and loans, give them out to individuals so they can own their own home and they don't have to rent their entire life.
Hmm.
That's what we should be doing. And whoever, whatever political party, whatever person comes up on the state and federal level with a way in which to do that, that is the person that's going to get elected on a statewide or a national basis. That's the person that people are going to cheer on, no matter what political party they belong to, because they want to be homeowners. They want to have that American dream. And I'm telling you, there's going to be a race in each party to start to provide home ownership.
Hmm. Let's look at the future here. Now, obviously, this is a long-standing process that's going to continue to take place, operating under the premise that there's some momentum from other agencies, ESD and of course Rockland IDA, etc. What's the next step from the town of Haverstraw's perspective? In other words, there's obviously some back and forth with various officials.
Well,
The town.
we just received the email yesterday, so we're looking at it and we're evaluating it. We have a lot of questions for the Empire Development Corp. Let me ask
Mhm,
you this: the first question is, why aren't they going into these other municipalities that haven't provided affordable housing? Why are they going into a municipality that has a tremendous amount of apartments?
mhm,
What is the point of that? If you're asking people to provide affordable housing, go to these communities that don't have it. Don't burden communities that are already. I guarantee you, they have no idea how difficult it is to bring ratables into Haverstraw, and for that matter, Stony Point, because of the infrastructure. Route 9W and Route 202 are antiquated roads. They are horrible. And to get anybody to come up here, tremendous amount of business still runs on trucking, still runs on rail.
mhm,
We don't have any rail stops here. We don't have any major roads that can handle these trucks. So why here? Why burden municipalities and taxpayers that are already paying some of the highest taxes in the nation, not just the state, the nation?
mhm,
So I don't get that. I really don't. And I don't know where they're going on this. We're going to take a very close look. We'll come out with, whatever we'll follow whatever road we need to, really to protect the taxpayers.
mhm,
This is, and I understand the village. They have a beautiful piece of property. We said to them, to the mayor, we will give you $4 million for that. Let's develop it for the residents that are already here. Let's do something really wonderful for the residents that are already here. He
mhm,
didn't want to do that. Okay, that's his prerogative. But you know what? To smack 450 units on this beautiful piece of property sitting on the Hudson River, I just can't agree with that. This should be remain really as much green as possible. Put some restaurants down there, put some stores down there, give the youth some activities in which they can go down there and enjoy themselves. That's how we feel. We believe that we have always done right by the people of Haverstraw, and we're going to continue to do that.
Well, we'll continue to follow this issue. As I mentioned earlier on in the year, and residential housing was certainly something that Rockland's News covered continuously. One of the big things was this transformation, the beginning of the transformation of the shops of Nanuet into the Nanuet Town Center. So this is definitely an issue that's going to continue on. And Howard, we look forward to having you on the show to giving us any updates on what's happening with the chair factory.
Tom, always a pleasure to talk to you and the residents of Haverstraw. It is It is an honor to be in this position, and let me wish everyone a wonderful, blessed Christmas and Hanukkah, and to you, Tom, and your family.
Okay, thank you. Howard Phillips, Town Supervisor for Haverstraw. Thank you very much for being on Rockland News. And Howard, I wish you and the administration there and your family and friends a very happy holiday and a Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, Tom. You take care.
All right, take care. This episode was sponsored by RocklandShopping.com. If you're looking for some great items to pick up from local small business retailers this holiday season, check out RocklandShopping.com. There's over 150 stores available from small businesses, mom and pop stores with some really cool stuff, ranging from wellness activities to gift cards to restaurants to a whole bunches of stuff. And you can check it out right now at rocklandshopping.com. And we look forward to seeing you on the next Rockland's News report. And don't forget, AM Rockland News is showing up tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the morning with Mike and Tom. Until then, my name is Tom Osa, and thanks for joining us today. Take care.